Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Jayo Jashodanandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Jayo Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Vanachari Jaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Okay, 拉着去看啊 Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Kunja Bihari Shishi Radha Madhava Ki Shishi Gaura Nitai Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Okay, Hare Krishna everyone. So let's get started with the Mangal Acharan prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, who's learned this verse? Hands up. Same hands. Liam, you learnt it?
That one.
What one are you referring to?
Yeah, that one.
This one, the one I'm referring to, yeah? Alright guys, look, it's such a beautiful prayer. If you want to embody the spirit of Queen Kunti, this is the price you have to pay. You've got to memorize one of these verses. In fact, let's go through another verse, because it's a verse we're going to go through today, and it's even easier, in fact. What verse are we on? This is 21, so in fact it's the next one. This is super duper easy to remember. So you can remember this one if you want to. So you could do each line after I do it. Nama Pankaja Nabhaya Nama Pankaja Maline Nama Pankaja Netraya Namaste Pankajangraya. So what does Namaha mean again? Or Namaste? Offering of respects, obeisances. So we'll get into these words. Pankaja means lotus. You might know a Hindu man, boy called Pankaj, right? So this is where the name's coming from, lotus. Yeah, it's not that funny. But that's where the name comes from, okay? Pankaj. And so Nabhaya, Nabhi, is the navel. So all glory is to the lotus-like navel of the Lord. Yeah? Nama Pankaja, Maline. So Mala means like a garland of flowers. Oh, hey, Raj is here, right?
Oh, I said hello.
Oh, okay, maybe it's just me. Actually, just in case I look a bit weird, my neck's a bit twisted, literally. So I can't quite like that type of thing. It's a bit slow, like Terminator style. It might take a little while to get to you. Anyway, even if I blank you, that's your good fortune as well. Okay, Nama Pankaja, Netraya. Netra is the eyes. All glory to the lotus-like eyes of the Lord. And then Namaste Panka Jangraya. So this is the feet of the Lord. Yeah. So this is also a very nice one to meditate on, and especially the first 3 lines are quite similar. And the 4th line is similar, it's just a little bit of a variation. So 21, 22, if you could try and learn these 2, that would be very nice. All right, so what I'm going to do, just for the benefit of those who are tuning in online, let's see how many of you guys are online today. So we have Nalini, Hiran, Ancho, Dipti, Dilip. Hey, why is Dilip? We're not really seeing you in person for a little while, huh? Okay, Abhimanyu, Alpa. Okay, Alpa, at least you're joining online. Jashu, I can't remember who that is. Does anyone know? Anyway, you're more than welcome. That's fine, no problem. Raj? Who's Raj? Which Raj is this one? Huh? Raj? Which Raj are you? Oh, Raj Chudamsa, right? What's your surname? Huh? Okay, Raj has unmuted himself, but he still doesn't want to speak. Okay.
Maybe your volume, so probably speak. The audio.
Oh, okay.
That's this.
Anyway, look, it's not important. Okay, Ami's here. Alpesh, Alpesh, when are you coming in person? Bro, come on, man, you got to fix up, huh? Allow this online stuff, that's for the week. Krishma. Yeah, Krishma is like, she works in, what's that place called? Gaydon, right? And she lives in Coventry, that's cool. Okay, John, Bharti, okay. All right, guys, it's good that you're joining online, but you know how it is. Just come in person as far as possible. But for your benefit, let's just share my screen. Oh, actually, you know what I need to do before I do that? That's a flop. Let's just not share. I need to get off this. Let's just stop sharing now. I need to do extend first. Okay, while we're getting that sorted, does anyone have any memories from last week at all?
Yeah, we spoke about the names of Krishna, primary and secondary.
Yeah, wow, easy. Check this out. Do you know who this is, Smith?
Yeah.
Who? What's her name?
Hector.
Yeah, Hector's flipping new. She's leading you guys here, okay? Or maybe she knows now. If she gets the basic stuff out first, I won't pick on her again. Okay. Yeah, so we're talking about the names of Krishna and the difference between primary and secondary. Do you remember what the difference is? Was that a question too far, Hector?
I think we spoke about...
Okay, Hector, yeah, thanks. All right, go on then. Yeah, go for it, Shanice, yeah.
we spoke about...
Just like your shoulder's got the nickname Devaki, right? It's like that. Okay, go on, Shanice, yeah.
we spoke about how Krishna reveals himself through his names or different states of meditation on his name.
Okay, nice, yeah, and the name is like the key that opens the door to further understandings and reflections and meditations to Krishna. Nice. Okay, yeah, anyone else?
The primary names are to do with Krishna's activities and relationship with devotees.
So primary, how he deals with, yeah, maybe devotees, but more how he deals with this world, basically, yeah? Or sorry, that's the secondary names, right? And the primary names are how Krishna deals with in the spiritual world, with his devotees, so his intimate side, his personal nature, his private side, yeah? Okay. Anyone else? Anything you can remember from last week?
I think you're telling him about to turn yourself off.
Maybe have to touch something.
Oh, do you? Is that okay? Okay, yeah. Anyone else? Anything from last week?
So we wrote down the name of Krishna.
Oh, yes.
Attractive and now means spiritual pleasure.
Yo, what's this, the discussion, yeah? Listen to him. All right, yeah. Yeah.
We we brought down the name Krishna.
Yeah.
Krish means attractive.
Yeah.
And Na means spiritual pleasure.
Yes, very nice. So we did a nice meditation. I think a few of you messaged me, I think including, what's your name again? Kishan. Yeah, basically you guys messaged me how that session and after that session you had a good chance to get into the holy names and you felt like you connected for at least for a little while, so that was good. So hopefully got you diving into the holy names. Okay, yeah, anyone else wants to share anything? Okay, Hector?
The jump, didn't we, with the...
Yes, how did you find that? Because was that your first ever experience of it?
No.
Okay.
I've done something similar before.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was a bit different, but yeah, it's nice.
Okay, fantastic, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could do all of these seminars, but ultimately we need to be doing the actual substance, right, of the Yuga Dharma. So it's good to encourage each other to do that, to get together. I was saying was I saying to you guys on Tuesday that actually you guys should just get together and do japa together and review your japa and be honest with one another. And as a group try and improve your japa. So yeah. Okay, anyone else wants to share anything else from last week? Yes, okay, Jay.
We talk about Rasa Leela and Tattva.
Yeah, Vichar and Rasa Vichar, yeah?
Yeah, and you see how Rasa Leela is higher than, because it's like Yashoda, Bani,
Yeah.
that's like ultimately that's higher.
Yes, nice. So Tattva, philosophy, spiritual truths, that is like the foundation to get into and understand Rasa and ultimately go beyond Tattva. So we can't just go straight into, oh, Mother Yashoda is so beautiful, she's binding Krishna, without realizing who Krishna is. But one will lend itself to the other. But at one stage, you will feel more attracted to one over the other. And that might change with time. So like we were given examples of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Lord Chaitanya, when they're meditating, they're not meditating, or they may meditate on the different syllables and what they mean, but ultimately it's Krishna that they're wanting, they're calling to. Yeah? Yeah?
We spoke about Nam going to Guna, going to
Yes!
one, then Leela.
Let's just put this up here, like another reminder here. So these are the stages of becoming Krishna conscious. So we spoke about this last time. I was going to include this as a bit of revision, because I know Kshamta's been not turning up for the last 5 years or whatever. By the way, let's give her a round of applause. Kshamta's here. Do you remember? It's so timely, right? We spoke about a Dokshaja, and I said the whole thing about a soft K like Kshamta, but I call her K Shamta, and look who turns up the next week. Yeah, you can't write this stuff. How you doing, K? You okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Kshamta, she is going to be one of the best students of the Bhakti Life course I've had. This Bhakti Life course, I remember, on the final session, wasn't it? We had 6 or 7. There was a group of 6. Oh, Shanice, you were there for that one as well, right? Shanice is also, she's okay as well. So one of those 6 people, she was there. And then there was one guy on a separate table. And what happened was, I was just kind of saying, so how's your journey been in Bhakti Life? I kid you not. That class, that table of 6 women, I think 5 or 6, no, I think apart from Shanice, they all started crying, and Shanice was also teary-eyed as well. No joke. No joke. That was, even I was like, flip, if only there was a camera here for this, Bhakti Life would sell out. Where's the social media team at? Chilling, right? That's the problem. So, yeah, and like, they were like, genuine tears. And I thought, wow, this is just amazing. The guy that was there, anyway, he was a waste, it was a space case, so forget him. But the girls in particular, they were on it. So Kshamta was one, and she's one of the few, I think she's only one of 2 who in the Bhakti Life course has purchased Gaunitai deities and had them installed. Yeah, so special person. You can't tell because we said, she doesn't come. But, whether she comes or not, you got to give all respects to her because she's carrying on from a previous life. So thank you very much, Kshamta. Any realizations from you? Because we've been missing your association. Anything you want to share or reflect on?
I feel like I need to come back because I feel like I've lost touch.
Okay.
So I need the motivation, the inspiration again.
Yeah.
To come back to Bhakti, have that discipline.
Okay, nice. Anyway, these guys need you, trust me. Just like Gaurav has come and he's added something to the Sanghas, you need to also come here. Because otherwise, without you guys, I feel a bit like, this guy is just like a waste of my time. Saturday group is so much nicer, so much quicker, so much shorter. It's just, I need someone to keep me sane. So please do come just for that reason alone, okay? All right, good. So we spoke about getting deep into holy name, meditating on the holy name, the meanings, the forms of Krishna. The holy name reveals actual realization of everything after this that you can see in this diagram. So Rupa Smaranam, which means to meditate on the form, and that's the clue. We're going to be speaking about Rupa Smaranam in this verse, because that's the order that Queen Kunti is going to go in. Smith was asking before, but we still see the deity now. So we're seeing it, but we're not seeing it. So to really see, as Krishna wants us to see, and as Krishna wants to reveal to us, we have to go through the holy name, and then the holy name starts revealing one after another. And it's not like this, and it stops in Leela. It goes round and round like this, actually. This arrow is just going round and round, like I explained last week. Yep, Kishan?
I just want to say, when we get to God's form and when we get to really know about God's form, is that only when we're chanting purely, or is that Nam Aparad, or like, is it?
Yeah, so ultimately when we, to not make it too technical, because I guess it's like so many different people here, is when we start chanting properly without offenses, then we open up a new dimension of seeing and understanding. Darshan is of a spectrum as well. Like you might get a person coming in seeing the deities that's an atheist and all they're seeing is stone and marble and wood. And then you might come here and get a Hindu that comes in and sees the deity, but it's like a demigod and just a wish-fulfilling desire tree, like that. Then you get a devotee that sees, no, actually this is non-different to Krishna, but still they're seeing the deity and not seeing Krishna. Then you have someone like Prabhupada that actually sees Krishna playing the flute, moving around and saying to, can you not see? So like that, right? So this has been revealed through the holy name. Yeah? Okay. All right, so let's just get back to... Anyone else wants to ask anything or share anything from last week? Yeah?
You know, like...
Is someone recording this, by the way?
I'm voice.
Oh, I mean like an audio recording, yeah.
Yeah, I'm audio.
Okay, just somebody was asking, yeah. Okay.
So like when an advanced devotee gets to that like attached phase or steady phase or taste, then are they attached and got taste in just the holy name? Obviously everything, but through the holy name they're getting a glimpse of form and pastime. So what is it that they're getting taste of? Is it just the holy name which...
They have a taste of the name, but then also they're like slowly entering into Krishna's world. So then there's a taste for everything. So if you remember the 9 stages resulting in Krishna Prem, one of the stages after Nishta is Nam Ruchi. And then it's a Shakti. So Nam Ruchi means taste for the holy names. So not just mechanically, not that you're solid, but actually it's like, it's candy touching your tongue, you know? And then that leads to a Shakti, an emotional attachment to Krishna. Like how we attach to our phone. If we lose our phone somewhere, we're thinking, where is the phone? That's basically the state of the practitioner once they've entered into a Shakti. And then he gets into further and further states of Samadhi as well. So yeah, then we'll see the form of the deity and we start crying. Or we'll want to do extra service, or we just want to sit there for hours and look.
So the taste developed first is for the name, which then
Yeah.
leads to...
Yeah, tastes be there for the name, for sure. That's the order we're taught anyway. Yeah. Okay, anything else? No? Just, I'm going to carry on then, yeah, if that's okay. So last week we finished on verse 21, which was the names of Krishna, and we did a nice breakdown of Krishna, Vasudev, all the names I'm telling you to memorize, that verse. So then now we're back into this topic. What else do we have to do to see Krishna like Queen Kunti? And like those different categories of people that she spoke about a couple of verses ago. So now the focus is on what else do we need to do? We need to meditate on his form, i.e. we need to take darshan. What does the word darshan mean? To see. Yes, to see. So the idea is we're seeing everything, but from an ontological point of view, Krishna sees and we're to be seen by Krishna. Right now we want to see Krishna, or right now let's just say we don't want to see Krishna, we want to see his energy without Krishna, and therefore we want to enjoy. The devotee sees Krishna, sees that he's seen by Krishna, and therefore wants to use his energy in his service. Yeah, that's the difference. So when we're taking darshan of Krishna, of Radharani, of Gaunitai, often we're going there and thinking, oh, the beautiful dress and the beautiful garlands and the beautiful jewelry. And this is nice, this is one level of darshan, but ultimately we're going there to stand in front of Radha Madhav, in front of Gaunitai, to be seen by them. That's why it's very important to go for darshan as many times as possible, to be seen. Because they're seeing through you, see your, like an X-ray vision, seeing the problems, the anarthas. And just one glance of Krishna is enough to evaporate these anarthas away. So we shouldn't be lazy about coming to take darshan. It's not enough just to take darshan on a phone or on Flickr or on, whatever it might be, YouTube. That's nice. At the very least, we should be doing that. But the endeavor to take darshan is actually purifying. Yeah? That I'm going all this way to see Radha Madhav, who love me so much, who've been following life after life. I need to be seen by them to feel purified today. Yeah? Does that make sense? So we are to be seen. When we understand that our purpose is to be seen, that's the mood of a servant. Yeah? If we're just going every day to see how beautiful Radha Madhav look and not thinking actually they're seeing me and therefore I should pray properly, it's not really darshan still. Does that make sense? Because we're still thinking Radha Madhav, the deities are an object of my vision. Whatever they look like, it don't matter from one point of view. We should be running to see them, to be seen by them. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay, even if it doesn't make sense, it makes sense to me. Yeah, okay, Smith.
Say Radha Madhav looking at a devotee who's going to take darshan,
Yeah.
saying that all the fears and anxieties and others can get evaporated. So what is that reciprocation dependent on? Is it that, like you mentioned, you should make the endeavor in the right mood? Is it just that? Is it what's that kind of?
Yeah, it's desire. I mean, we'll get to one slide soon, maybe not today, about your favorite topic, Sharanagati, right? So, but yeah, just to keep it short and simple, it's sincere or sincerity, which is measured externally by activity and impatience. And all of this has to be done unconditionally. Do you remember you guys that have been hanging around me for a while? I said there's 2 pennies that need to be dropped. That needs to, 2 pennies, you know what that's saying, right? The penny drops. 2 pennies need to drop in this lifetime if you have any chance to become Krishna conscious. Can anyone remember any of those 2 pennies? Yeah.
So the first one is that Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada, everything that's there in philosophy is true, and you relate with it.
Okay, so the first one is Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada, the Acharyas, the Guru. All of them are true and they'll bring you close to truth. Yeah, so that's the first penny that needs to drop.
And the second one is that Krishna may or may not reciprocate in the same way that you expect Krishna to.
Yeah, so the second penny is Krishna may or may not reciprocate in the way you expect him to do, but you have to be cool with that. These 2 pennies, if they don't drop into your piggy bank all the way to the bottom, you know when it goes right to the bottom, you hear the sound, that type of droppage I'm talking about, then Maya will break you in this lifetime. It won't happen in this lifetime. Yeah? Is that okay? Everyone's made a mental note of those 2 pennies? Those are the pennies that have to drop. And you have to make them drop. So right now you may not have full faith in Shastra, because when you are thinking about the perfect job, the perfect marriage, the perfect place to live, you may not be consulting the devotees or scripture first. You may be consulting your own understanding. That means you haven't really fully accepted Shastra. Yeah? And then the second thing is, okay, Krishna loves me unconditionally. Unconditionally means no condition. So I have to learn to love him unconditionally. And that may mean he may not seemingly reciprocate the way I expect him to. Make no mistake, and we'll get through it today, Krishna does reciprocate with every single one of us. But it may come out in a different way. Yeah? Is that okay? Make sense to everyone? Okay, you know when I'm saying make sense to everyone, I can't really look at everyone because of my neck. So if it doesn't, just say it doesn't, and I'll ignore you that way. All right, can someone read out verse 22? I.e. this verse here.
My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses.
Okay, nice. So, one type of flower has been described a lot in this verse. Which flower is that? The lotus. And what was the Sanskrit for lotus again? Pankaj. What's the color of a lotus? What purple do?
Pink normally.
God. Priya, there's a pink in here, right? This type of pink looks a bit girly though. Powerpuff Girl, that sort of color. Yeah, I know about Powerpuff Girls. Watch, don't watch me. Okay, So here in Sanskrit, right, we've got lotus. There's a few words for lotus. One word is pankaja, yeah? So I'm going to test you already. What does ja mean? Can you remember from a doxa ja? What does ja mean? What was one of the meanings of a doxa ja? Don't say Krishna. Oh, fortunately, Rita's not here, okay? Huh?
Beyond limits?
Beyond limits, yeah?
From?
Yeah, can't be seen? Somebody?
Does it mean from?
From, yeah, close. So it means born from or from, yeah? So the idea is, pankaja means, okay, let's just break this down slowly. One is born or from, as was mentioned here. And panka means mud. Okay? So you might know, you may or may not know, but lotuses, they're normally born in swampy areas. So muddy areas, filthy areas. Yeah, even though they're born in such a muddy area, swampy area, they seem to transcend the beauty of their place, right? They don't seem to be affected or submerged by their surroundings. So it's a very clever way. So panka means panka means mud. Ja means to be born from. And so what they found, scientists have found something quite interesting about the lotus, and this is why it's glorified, or one of the reasons it's glorified in Vedic tradition, is even though it's in a watery, muddy environment, if say some of that water or mud happens to splash onto the petals of a lotus, it kind of sticks and then slides off, and then the lotus remains clean. Does anyone know Krishna uses this example in one of the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita? Who remembers? Which chapter? Okay, just because I need some entertainment, I want all of you to get the Bhagavad Gita out on your phones. Okay? Yeah, don't try it, Smith, okay? Okay, yeah, it's chapter 2, look through chapter 2, yeah? The rest of you guys, I'll tell you what chapter it's in. Okay, so chapter 5, find me the verse number where Krishna talks about a lotus. And if you don't find it, you're going to get submerged in Maya today. Trust me. One of the verses in chapter 5, I hope it's chapter 5, unless I'm chatting rubbish now. You found it in chapter 2? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Text 10. Does that sound, I think that sounds right, yeah? It's right at the start, yeah? Text 10. So you can have a look at it. Chapter 5, verse 10. Can someone read it out for me?
One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by a sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water.
Okay, nice. So basically, Krishna is saying to Arjun, work in this world in such a way, in yoga, where you become like the lotus flower. You're in this world, but you don't get affected by the sinful reactions, by the karma that would affect everyone else. For everyone else, when they act in this world, it's like a different flower in the same environment. The mud sticks, the water sticks, it doesn't leave, and more sticks on it until it just drowns, and then it has to be born again. Yeah? But the lotus, whatever flies onto it, it just doesn't stick, and it doesn't get submerged, it stays afloat. So in that way, the lotus is symbolizing something that is transcendental, something that's beautiful, something that's seen in this world, but not of this world, and doesn't belong in this world, and doesn't get submerged by this world. Yeah? So therefore, it's a very poetic use of this flower to describe a few things, and that's why often in Vedic literature, especially in Bhakti literature, Krishna and different parts of Krishna will be described like a lotus. Like for example, his feet are like lotuses. If you take shelter of his feet, you don't get submerged in Maya, right? But also anything related to Krishna, like the devotees, are also described as lotus-like. Like for example, Srila Prabhupada, or when we do Guru Puja, the lotus-like lips of a devotee. Why? Because the words are coming out which are transcendental. Yeah? So transcendental means it's beyond material sound vibration, therefore it's lotus-like. Yeah? Makes sense? And also the lotus flower is supposed to be very beautiful. We could really get into the poetry of the lotus flower. Like there's, I think mainly lotus flowers, they open up. I think they open up during sunrise, right? And they close during the moonshine, something like this. So it also symbolizes a transcendentalist. They should be open at certain times of the day and closed at certain times of the day. Like this, you could kind of go and analyze the sort of the symbolism of the lotus in so many ways. Okay, so let's kind of get into this verse a little bit. So I've put here, Pankaj Mad, Ja is born from here. Yes, the idea is Krishna, even though he comes in this world, he's never made impure by being in this world. You know, we gave the example of the king can go into his own creation like the prison house and not be subject to the rules of the prison house. He's created the rules, they apply for everyone. At the same time, him and his men that run the prison house, they could walk in and out of the cells, out of all of the cells and inside all of the cells, they don't get affected by it. Even if they walk in the cells and the other people are in the cells and affected by the rules, the king never gets affected. Yeah? So in that way, Krishna is supposed to be transcendental to his creation, to his karma, like that. Okay, so in this 5th verse, Krishna is now the object of prayer for Queen Kunti, very clearly, and in particular the form. So normally when we take darshan of the Lord, we start off with the feet. You know, some of you that have been coming for a while, we've taught you this, yeah? As tempted as you are to start off with the eyes and the necklaces and the flower garlands, start off with the feet. You start off the feet, which is the boat that takes us across this material ocean to Krishna's world. And then from the feet, you go up and up and up, and that enhances your experience of darshan as well. But here, Queen Kunti, some of the acharyas are saying, because she's emotional, and maybe because she doesn't want to embarrass Krishna. Do you remember the last few verses we were saying Krishna's a little bit embarrassed because normally he has to look up to Queen Kunti. Queen Kunti's, what's the relationship again between Kunti and Krishna? Yes, the maternal aunt. So to stop Krishna feeling embarrassed, she's taking darshan and glorifying different parts of Krishna's form, but not starting off with the feet. But normally we would start off with the feet. So she's either very emotional. In the next slide we're going to speak a little bit more about that, but it may be also the acharyas are saying that she doesn't want to embarrass Krishna. So she would normally start with the feet, but she starts a bit higher. Okay, so let's just carry on here. So I think this is kind of like related to what we were saying before. That there's 2 types of vatsalya, or paternal parental love. One is Gaurav vatsalya, like we have Gaurav Prabhu here, right? Gaurav, do you know what your name means?
Right.
Okay, wow, he's humble. Ironically, he's humble because he was very with that. Yeah, so one thing it can be is pride. The other thing as well, kind of related to pride, is when one's understanding of the glory of God is at the forefront of that relationship. So one type of vatsalya is Gaurav vatsalya, which means parental love, but understanding that love for God is the supreme. So like Devaki, Vasudeva, they saw Krishna, right, in the 4-arm form, and then he reduced. So they were always thinking, he's my son, but he's actually God. Whereas Yashoda, even when Krishna shows Mother Yashoda the whole universe is coming from him, she's like, that's cool, but you're my son, so I need to feed you and look after you. So Devaki can't do it like that. She's got mixed, yeah? So one is Gaurav vatsalya, and one is Vishramba. Vishramba, which means the affection, the intimacy is prevalent. So like I said with Queen Kunti at the introduction, she's got both going on. Usually the intimacy, the affection wins out, but you'll see the contrast every so often. So that's quite nice for us to go through her mood compared to the resonance of Vrindavan. Okay, also, I heard this from Amarendra Prabhu. I don't know where he got this from, but another reason why Queen Kunti is glorifying these parts of Krishna's form is related to our understanding of Krishna in Vrindavan. So this is quite nice to meditate on. And therefore this is another reason for you to learn this verse, because when you remember each line, you'll be thinking how Queen Kunti is thinking as well. Okay, so let's go to the first line. Nama Pankaja Nabaya. Okay, so I said Nabi is lotus. Nabi is navel. So she's thinking, now I'm seeing you, Krishna, but you are Krishna of Dwarka, come here to help us, and you've got your shield and your whole body is protected and your body's not visible to me. Just your face and your hands and maybe just beyond your shoes, but the rest of you is like not visible, it's protected, it's shielded. But I remember you from a time from before you were dressed like a Kshatriya, you were dressed, you weren't even dressed around, you were dressed like walking around naked, running around naked. Maybe you just had a kopin or loincloth on that Mother Yashoda. Like in India, you see kids just running around. It's a bit of a sight sometimes. But anyway, they're running around naked or with a kopin. You're like, can't mum buy you some clothes? Here, let me donate you some money. But it's not that. It's so hot. And it's actually hygienic rather than having nappies in India when it's super hot. So I remember that time when you just had a coping, and I can remember the shape of your navel, and it was very lotus-like. So she's thinking of Krishna of Vrindavan, because Krishna in Dwarka has just got the shield, right? So you can't really see the lotus-like navel as well. Why could the navel be described as lotus for Krishna specifically?
Because it contains the universe and beyond. So,
It contains the universe and beyond, okay?
yeah, like all the universe, really. But specifically, you see Krishna. In Damodarashtakam, right? We say that in the belly.
Yeah, okay, that's there. That's there. But yeah, why specifically lotus though?
Because maybe the Mahavishnu kind of came out from.
Okay, you'll get into the explanations. Mahavishnu came out? Not quite.
Lotus.
Yes, okay. Yeah, see, Kashamta wanted to correct you, yeah? She was itching, all 3 years of weight was coming out, but you blocked her, you know? Smith loves that. If he gets it wrong, he just goes for every single option available. You'll notice this. You just got to allow him. This is the one time he's allowed. I don't think Ami allows that at home. Okay, so what happens? Krishna, when he expands himself many times, you get the Chaturvyuha, the 4 types of Vishnus. Ultimately from that you get Sankarshan, another Chaturvyuha. And then you get the 3 Mahapurush Vishnus. So the first one, who remembers the name of the first one? Garbhadakshayi Vishnu is the second one. Karanadakshayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu for sure. So Mahavishnu, he's the one that's floating in the causal ocean, and from each pore comes a Brahmanda, one universe. And so as he's breathing out, I think they come out, and this Brahmanda, this universe is just one Brahmanda of, so many Brahmandas, like one mustard seed and a sack of mustard seeds. And when he breathes in, they all come back into his body and become unmanifest. Alright? So what happens is, and then he expands from that to Garbhadakshayi Vishnu within each Brahmanda, in the half of the egg shape. Okay? And there, from his navel, comes a lotus flower, and Brahma's on that lotus flower. And then he's lost and he meditates, and we get the whole of creation that we hear about in Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's another reason why we meditate on Krishna's navel and call it a lotus, because the original lotus of this material world emanates from his navel. Yeah? Make sense? Okay, let's go to the next one. Nama Pankaja, Maline. So this is flower garlands. So again, maybe they've given him some flower garlands, but if Krishna is there as a Kshatriya, he may not have any flower garlands. So why is Queen Kunti talking about this? She's also remembering Krishna. Sometimes his friends are decorating him, and when they go to the forest, they pick out many flowers and then put a thread through them and make them into a flower garland, and they decorate Krishna. So she's remembering the beauty of Krishna when he's most beautiful as a young youth entering into Vrindavan forest and being decorated by the gopis and the gopas. Yeah? So this is the meditation of Queen Kunti there. Okay, and then something very beautiful. Nama Pankaja Netraya. So lotus-like eyes. So Krishna's eyes are very lotus-like. His glance is very cooling, like a lotus flower. But also, when you went into that forest and you left the gopas and you saw Radharani, and when you saw Radharani, your eyes opened in a way that's very unique, like the lotus opens as well. So nice, right? So Queen Kunti is meditating on all of these Vrindavan Leela. So Queen Kunti is of Dwarka, but still she views Vrindavan as sweeter. Yeah? So her meditation is Krishna in Vrindavan. So she's meditating on all these things, but then she says, but now, for now, I'm going to take shelter of your lotus feet. Because your lotus feet have helped me through so many difficulties, and we'll be speaking about how in the next verse. Okay, I'll just put some extra notes. Maybe I'll just put these notes for myself. Yeah, we don't need to go into that as well. This is also a clue for one of the future verses, because Queen Kunti was also there when the Damodar Leela took place. So this is how she saw glimpses of Krishna when she's not a resident of Vrindavan. So what happens is Damodar Leela took place on a specific day in our calendar when something else happened. Does anyone know which day that was? Diwali day. So what happens on Diwali, hopefully it's still the case now, is on Diwali day you might get relatives showing up to your house with some sweets, and they want to come and see you and see the kids and stuff like that. So that tradition was also there in Krishna's time. So Queen Kunti one time went to visit her relatives, Vasudev, or not so much Vasudev, sorry, Yashoda and Nandan, but specifically to see Krishna. And so she came here to visit, and then she saw this Damodar Leela. So she'll be reflecting on that Damodar Leela later in one of the verses. Okay, so it's a very beautiful verse, and you could just see, part of reading scripture, especially when you have poetic verses like this, is not to read it like a machine. Not like Johnny 5, if those of you know the reference, okay? You're just blitzing it type thing. Sometimes you just got to spend time with a verse that's very beautiful and read it like a poet and visualize on it. Not just blitz it and what's the next one? Let me just finish this type thing. This type of verse you need to slow down and relish it. Relish Queen Kunti and why she's saying it, and the symbolism of it and what it means. In the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, there's one verse where Krishna is saying, one who knows that I'm not affected by my creation, they know me in truth. So just to meditate how Krishna is transcendental to this world, even though he appears here, just thinking about everything he does that seems human-like, yet he's transcendental, makes you advance in bhakti. To understand Krishna is like the lotus, you become lotus like yourself, and you don't get affected by karma. Yeah? Make sense? Okay, any thoughts before we go to verse 22 or verse 23? 23 and 24 are together actually. Or is that okay? Shall I crack on? Crack on? Okay, fine. How are we doing for time? 7:55. Okay, cool. Okay, so what's the link between verse 22 and the next couple of verses? So same theme, what else do we need to do to see Krishna? And I've highlighted the word gratitude. And also, Queen Kunti finished on, in terms of the darshan, she went like from midway up and then down all the way to the feet. So why is Queen Kunti taking darshan of Krishna's feet at the end? Sugar. Let me see if this is the version I had, but I put a version together where we can meditate on Krishna's feet and all the symbols on Krishna's feet. I just can't remember if it was this one or on the USB, but if there's USB, I don't have it. Okay, we'll see how it goes. If not, we'll do it next week, okay? So here, Queen Kunti is going to show gratitude for everything Krishna has done for her to date. And it's kind of related to that introduction where I got you guys to look at Queen Kunti's life history and the significant events and like that. And then why else is she taking shelter of Krishna's feet? Because she's had to grab onto Krishna's feet for help for so many times, for so many reasons in the past. So Krishna's feet is described to be like a boat which stays afloat. So not just a lotus, but a boat. And why a boat as well as a lotus? Because on a boat you could get in. Yeah, you could get in, you stay afloat, and the boat moves. It takes you from one side which is dangerous to the other side which is safe. And there you stay permanently. Yeah? Okay, so let's have a look and see why Queen Kunti is seeing Krishna and what this gratitude manifests, or how it manifests. Okay, so can someone read out verse 23 for me on the board? Someone in the room? Wow.
Master of the senses and Lord of the Lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers.
Okay, good. There was slightly more emotion in your reading than Shane's reading, but it's still depressing though, nonetheless. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so now Queen Kunti here is comparing her participation of Devaki's life. Basically, she's contrasting her life and the things that happen in life with Devaki, Krishna's biological mother. And she's doing it simply to cherish Krishna's mercy, not out of envy, not out of pride, just like how Krishna helps so many people in so many different ways. So she's talking about Devaki. Devaki was imprisoned by who? Let's just get a few names out there. By Kamsa. Okay, yeah, it's there as well. And me and my children from a series of constant dangers. So she's talking about Devaki and how Devaki was saved, and her and how she was saved. Okay, so Queen Kunti said, you've saved me in so many ways. The other thing the Acharyas say is Queen Kunti is also looking at Devaki, thinking of Devaki and thinking, she was your mother and you did a lot for her, but actually you did a lot more for me than you did for Devaki. So I should be even more grateful than Devaki. This is very interesting. When we pray, we have to pray like this, that actually I'm not grateful at all for whatever you've done for me, you know. And I could see, maybe other people don't know, maybe I like to act independent, maybe I'm a self-manifest sadhu, but actually I know and you know, without me, without you in my life, and without you sending all these people and these books and so many other ways to keep me afloat in this swamp-like material world, I wouldn't be here. So Queen Kunti is now thinking, and so I put here as the first point that Queen Kunti, by reflecting and highlighting Krishna's mercy, she's also illustrating to us some of the qualities we need in order for us to see Krishna. Okay? So one of the key qualities I wanted to illustrate here is that of gratitude for Krishna's kindness. Remember I said a few weeks ago, Queen Kunti could have been like, well, you've put my life in, you know, you've turned it topsy-turvy, upside down, so many difficulties. She could have taken that angle, like, you know, why one difficulty after another, now you're leaving me, you owe me, right? But she doesn't. She sees it in a completely different way. She sees how Krishna's done so many things for her, and without Krishna, those difficulties would have come anyway, and then there would have been no hope for her. Yeah? So it's very difficult to see that in times of danger. So that's why we're going to spend a bit of time dissecting that sentiment and how we could look at that practically. Okay, so this is basically the original gratitude journal. You know, nowadays people are talking about gratitude. I said this in the spiritual psychology course. Does anyone remember the word I used, or the Sanskrit word for gratitude? Kritagya, right? Yeah, so Kritagya. I'll write it in a different color now, because if I'm not obliged to use pink, I won't. Okay, so gratitude, yeah? Let me just write it here. God, it's really hard when you can't turn your neck, you know? I'm just telling you. Kritagya, sorry. Yeah, you could pronounce it like G. It's like this. Kritagya. So krita means to do, or activities being done, and gya means to know. So to know what has been done for you. If you know what's been done for you, you could be truly grateful. Does that make sense? So, Kritagya, or this level of gratitude, is only there, or it's there in its maximum in pure devotees. Why is that the case? Because a pure devotee knows everything in this world is operating because of Krishna. Therefore, they could be truly the most grateful people. When your scope of understanding is less than that, you're grateful to a certain extent only. You can only be, because that's all you know. That's the way the world is operating according to your worldview. But a pure devotee, and even not a pure devotee, even a devotee that's striving to be a pure devotee but is understanding everything, they could be grateful for everything, the good times and the bad times. They could be grateful for the nature of this world, which is not always good, but it's perfect for its purpose. Does that make sense? They could be grateful because they understand the soul is eternal, it never dies. Does that make sense? So their level of gratitude is a lot deeper and a lot wider than worldly people, because they can only see and understand certain things only. Does that make sense? And even now, as a science, they're saying the people that are grateful are some of the most happiest. So can you understand how a devotee is really happy all the time? It makes sense, right? From that spiritual point of view, if you take it further. And Krishna, so Kritagya is one of the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, of a devotee that's listed. But also one of the qualities of Krishna is he's Kritagya. Very interesting. He's grateful. Why is he grateful? Because despite operating everything in this world, down to the smallest detail of this blade of grass moving at a certain time, despite knowing all of these things, Krishna still sees what the devotee does and is grateful. So that's how Krishna is Kritagya as well. Beautiful, right? So Krishna is extremely grateful. Okay, yes, jaw dropping. Whoever dropped their jaw there. Okay. Alright, so we spoke about this, so I was a bit slow with the points here. Okay, you protected me, my sons, the Pandavas, and my daughter-in-law. Who's her daughter-in-law again? Draupadi. Whereas for Devaki, if you think about it, Devaki's first 6 children were killed. 7th one seemingly was a miscarriage, but we know that was Balaram that was transferred from the womb of Devaki to Rohini's womb. And then the 8th child, yes, they were praying for you. Even in the previous life, they were praying for you to appear as their son, and they were grateful. and you protected them from one point of view because afterwards, like, they were released. But then as soon as you were born, you said, just take me over to Nand on your shoulder. So yeah, you know, they should be grateful they got you as a son. But in terms of how many times they've helped you out, I should be more grateful, right? Because you've helped me out so many times, even more than you've helped out your biological mother. So Queen Kunti is thinking of these things and she's crying and cherishing it. Why have I written this? Yes, in terms of protection, Krishna's protection, this is kind of a nice way to look at it. I'm not just going to give you cliches and phrases. We're going to go into it a bit deeper. But Krishna's will never takes us to a place beyond Krishna's mercy or Krishna's grace. When we read Srimad Bhagavatam and we look at the lives of devotees that have been through difficulties, we will always see this one thing. Krishna may sanction many things, but Krishna's desire is different from Krishna's sanction. I remember one time I was speaking to some Christian, they were training to become, what do Christians become? Ministers or whatever they're called, right? Is that what there's a term for them, right? Priests, reverend, yeah, maybe something like that. So they train them, I think in Cambridge, there's one place that they train them from all around the world, they come there. So they invite us sometimes. So I've been there twice, obviously they like me. But one thing is they just say, look, Sanatan, I hope you don't mind, but can we just grill you with any type of question? Like, and so the person that's teaching them is saying, like, they're here, there's like 15, 20, 30 of them, and this is the only time they'll probably get to interact with someone who's representing Sanatan Dharma, specifically Krishna consciousness. You know, we like to think that we all get along, but also, you know, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're going to hell. But anyway, besides that, right? Besides that point, which is a minor point, can they grill you on anything? So I'm like, yo, just grill me, whatever you want. You know, I'm here for, an hour, just do whatever you want. And they're very honest people. And some of them were saying, look, this is one of the things we have difficulty with. Does God sanction everything? Does he allow everything does he know everything and allow everything to pass and horrible things happen? And then how do you answer these questions? So I said, yeah, for us it's not an issue because we've got karma, reincarnation, we do seminars on why bad things happen to good people. So that's not one of the things we struggle on. But I said to her, this lady, there's a difference between Krishna's desire and Krishna's sanction. And it was just like, you could see it was a eureka, it's like something exploded in her mind, like, wow, there's a difference between God sanctioning something and God wanting something else. Because they don't really have that concept of karma, independent of Krishna's mercy or God's mercy, right? They don't have that separate distinction of two things, right? Krishna doesn't want us to be in this material world, and therefore he wants us to be out of karma, but karma is a justice system that he's sanctioned. Yeah? Make sense? So there's a lot of relief in just hearing this, and it's what Krishna's explaining, for example, in the Gita. So even if a devotee is put into difficulty and it's the will of Krishna, Krishna will never will us to go into a place, physical or mental, where we're devoid of his mercy. And a pure devotee, and I've said this a few times, the measure of a pure devotee is they're able to do devotional service in any situation. Whether it's physical, mental, in the form of words, they'll be able to serve Krishna in any place. Yeah? And so once we've mastered the art of that, no place is going to be like hell, because hell in one sense is just a place where you're separated from Krishna. Yeah? Okay, let's get into this in a little bit more detail. Okay, I spoke about this point a few weeks ago, so I'm not going to repeat it again. You can see actually, yeah, this word Hrishikesh is here. We spoke about this, right? Kesha, so Isha means the Lord, and Hrishik means the senses. So that person who's a master of the senses. Okay, so this was suggested by one of our acharyas. VCT stands for Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He suggested that Devaki didn't suffer as much as Kunti. So this is his reasoning. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, firstly because Devaki had her husband by her side always. Whereas we saw with Queen Kunti from quite a young stage of their marriage, we spoke about it, right? He was cursed, and ultimately he was with Madri, tried to be intimate, and then he was cursed to die, and he died. And so Kunti is now a young widow. And she's had to go through all these difficulties without her husband by her side. Whereas at the very least, Devaki's also had Vasudeva all of his time, right? So the husband's been by the side. Also, Devaki had that prophecy. So in case you don't know the story, she got married to Vasudeva, Kamsa, as the charioteer was taking Devaki to Vasudev's home, that's a tradition. Then there was that prophecy from the sky that comes to you, fool, don't you know that the 8th child born of Devaki will be the one that kills you? And as soon as he hears it, the one arm he was using to, hold the reins of the horses, he grabbed Devaki's hair. The other arm, he got his sword and was about to decapitate her. And then Vasudev showed some quick thinking and managed to convince him that actually, don't worry, every time we have a child, I'll bring to you. And he's a person of his word. He's famous for being that. So Kamsa said, okay, fine, as long as you keep your word. But here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, even though they went through many difficulties, they knew Krishna would come as their son. Queen Kunti didn't have any such prophecy. Right? So they were able to go from one difficulty, one murder of a baby to another, because they knew actually, as long as we go through all this difficulty and austerity, we're accelerating the speed that Krishna's going to come. And then we'll be happy and everyone will be happy. So we're willing to put anything on the line, even our own children, if need be, because we've heard, right? The gods have said Krishna is going to come. Yeah? Interestingly enough, I think Sanatan Goswami says that voice, some say it's like the demigods. Sanatan Goswami said it was actually Narad Muni. Because Narad Muni comes and he tries to accelerate things, isn't it? So Sanatan Goswami, I think in one song he says it's actually Narad Muni. And also Devaki, because she was carrying Krishna in the womb, Krishna was right next to her heart, just underneath her heart. So do you remember I said one of the reasons we go from Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki, is because of the pregnancy, right? So Krishna was there within the womb. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, as a result of all of these things, Devaki didn't suffer as much, even though seemingly she did. Okay, can someone read this out? This is from one of the purports of the first canto. Srila Prabhupada wrote this. Someone wants to read this out? Yo, let's not slow this down. It's about 18 flipping candidates here. Kashamta, yes, thank you.
The conclusion is that Krishna endows more favor to a devotee who is in greatest danger or greater dangers. Sometimes he puts his pure devotees in such dangers because in that condition of helplessness, the devotee becomes more attached to the Lord. The more the attachment is for the Lord, the more success is there for the devotee.
So do you remember Prabhupada was saying Queen Kunti is the incarnation of Krishna's success potency? So we're getting a bit closer into understanding what real success is. But here, what's the key thing that Prabhupada is saying? Why does Krishna sometimes put devotees into danger? What happens as a result? More attachment, this state of helplessness, this state of actually I have no other shelter apart from the only shelter who I already knew was the only shelter, but now I could really rely. And when I rely on that shelter, I get so much joy. Yeah, you're good.
I suppose that would make you more vulnerable as well, because you're open to the attachment. You're open to taking Krishna and saying, look,
good point.
I'm yours.
When we're not vulnerable, of course, vulnerable brings many connotations to it, but vulnerable means like susceptible to. There's no barrier to. Whereas previously we've got our army and Krishna's one of the soldiers. If the other soldiers don't quite work out, Krishna will come and substitute. And that's how we conduct our life, right? We rely on Krishna, but just in case Krishna's sleeping, just in case Krishna's with Radharani, I've got my mom and my dad and my job and all of these sort of things. But sometimes we're praying to Krishna, please bring me closer. Krishna has to give us the experience of being closer. How does he do that? Sometimes he does that in one form. I remember Kashamta, you said, does Krishna have to do that? Do you remember you asked me that? Yeah, I can't remember what I said to you. I said something to encourage you, but obviously it didn't work because you left. But that's one of the things. Krishna also sees if you're ready for that. Okay? So he doesn't force you unnecessarily. But especially with pure devotees, Krishna may do that sometimes to illustrate through pure devotees the lesson that we can learn, because the pure devotees can sustain that lesson themselves. Yeah? But I'm going to go a little bit more in detail with difficulties, because it's a hard thing for us to understand, because all of us can relate to going through severe difficulties and Krishna seemingly wasn't there. So just hold on to that thought for now. In a few slides we're going to get into that concept. Okay, remember I said 23, 24, they go together. So can someone read out 24 for me now? This is how Krishna protects Kunti. Wow, you guys are playing difficult today, huh? It's not so hard. If I was with the year threes, they'll be all over this. They would be wrestling one another to read. The substitute teachers and everyone would have to unscramble them and all of that. Clearly that's not the case here. Yes, who would like to read? Okay, no, sorry, that was the wrong question. Who here doesn't want to read? Yes, let's put the hands up. Who here does not want to read or is neutral about reading? Any other emotion apart from enthusiastic about reading, put your hand up. Who's too tired to put their hand up? Put your hand up.
My dear Krishna.
There we go. That's why he's here. Okay, all right, yes.
Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from a poison cake, from a great fire, from, I can't see from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from suffering during the exile in the forest, and from the battle where the great generals fought, and how you have sent us from the weapons of Ashwatthama.
Yes.
Saved us. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right, saved us. Okay, so now Queen Kunti is thinking about how Krishna's been very merciful to her. She's going back into time, going through every single incident. And what's important is she's going back into time, seeing every incident and seeing Krishna's hand behind every incident and how Krishna protected. At one point, every single one of us has to do that, has to go back into time and see how the incidents in our life brought us to this stage where we get into here, Bhagavad Gita, where we get to hear Queen Kunti. And maybe if life didn't pan out exactly like that, you'd be somewhere else listening to something else which would make you not like a lotus. Yeah? Somehow Krishna has mastered the plan for us, and we may not be giving him credit, but it was Krishna ultimately. There's nobody else apart from Krishna that's engineering our life. We think it's us, but as we'll see, it's not us. So the idea is Queen Kunti could have viewed these events as independent, differently, because it seemed like Krishna didn't really get involved. Let's have a look at these incidents again. So what was the first incident here Queen Kunti talks about? Poison cake. What's that referring to?
Beam.
Yeah, Beam got poisoned by Duryodhan when he was a kid, right? And can anyone tell me the story, but just very short? Like, you know, what happened to... So Beam gets poisoned, then what happens?
He gets rolled up and thrown into the lake.
He gets thrown, yeah?
Into the lake, and then he meets a serpent, king of the serpents.
Yeah.
And he actually gets given a potion that makes him stronger.
Yeah, that's right. So he got bitten before he met that king. And then he goes down there and gets given some elixir that makes him even more stronger, and Duryodhan gets even more jealous. Okay?
So how Krishna is related in this area?
Yeah, that's the point I'm making, right? How is Krishna related, right? It seems like, yeah, thanks Gaurav. In fact, you're too smart. You're so smart, it's cancelling your intelligence out, right? Yeah? It's like, yeah. No, it's good. It's a good quality to have in some situations anyway. So yeah, it seems like Krishna wasn't involved, right? I mean, where was Krishna there? He wasn't involved, right? Yeah, Gaurav, he wasn't involved. Yeah, technically he wasn't involved, right? You're right, he wasn't involved. And then this great fire, what happened in the great fire? Remind me again?
He was involved actually.
Oh, okay.
So the person who gave him the boon, the Kalyanan, was the one from the Kalyanan, whom Krishna sent from the Yamuna.
Okay, I mean, all right, fine, okay. Let's, yeah, okay.
That same person gave the boon.
Okay, so that's there, okay, fine. So indirectly Krishna was involved, let's say. Okay, but what about the next one, Gaurav? How is Krishna involved in the next one? Anyhow you come up with some different side story for this, I'll be impressed, okay? You're like trying to defeat yourself. So it makes no sense what you're trying to do here. So the fire, what happened in the fire? The house of lack? So was Krishna involved in that? Gaurav, was Krishna involved in that?
Not directly.
Yeah, no, I know not directly. The point we're making, seemingly not, right? Directly or indirectly, Krishna didn't really seem to be part of that. Vidura saved them, right? Vidura gave the advice. Like, where was Krishna in there? If anything, Krishna was lamenting, oh, the Pandavas have died. He was acting as well. But he didn't really get involved at all, right? And then, after that, the cannibals, so when they were away in the forest, so the house of lack burnt down, they kind of spent a little while away. They met with a couple of cannibals. Krishna seemingly didn't help them at that time, right? Beam was empowered, but, you know, Krishna wasn't there. And the vicious assembly, what was that referring to? Game of dice, right? So yeah, there was some infinite sari supplied, but I didn't really see you coming, Krishna. I mean, not directly, right? Maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it wasn't Krishna supplying the sari, right? And then, okay, and then the exile, Krishna really didn't get involved. There was only one time actually he got involved, but we're going to speak about that later. But apart from that one time, seemingly, I mean, they were just suffering alone, isn't it? And then in the battle, I mean, Krishna was the charioteer, isn't it? It could be argued he had the best view, but he wasn't participating, right? Although we know he did a couple of things here and there to help out. And then from the weapon of Ashwatthama, okay, we know obviously, because Queen Kunti knows, but she's just making the point, right? That she sees, but it could be argued, well, I mean, maybe it was Paramatma within the womb rather than Krishna. Maybe it was an expansion of Krishna, but not Krishna, like that. So all of these points could be made. So let's get into this. This is kind of illustrating how there's two categories of people in this world. All right, we've done that point. Okay. So yeah, if we want to be grateful, we have to look at things that have happened in our life and force ourselves to see how Krishna helped us push these things, helped us to navigate the problems and get us to where we are now. From one point of view, there should be no reason why we keep coming here every week, have deities at home, reading, doing any angas of bhakti, because we're not really that pure. Our material desires are a lot stronger than our spiritual desires, right? Isn't it? I don't know about you guys, but if for most of us we're being honest, yeah, I have some nice feelings for Krishna, reading the Gita, but right now, you know, if I had like a second option, if I had a job that paid me £1 million in the Bahamas, I might just ditch Iskcon and go there for a year or two, get 5 million, and then I'll come back for Krishna. You know, Krishna's always going to be there, right? We discussed, Krishna never leaves. He's avyayam, right? He's infallible. I'm going to use Queen Kunti's words against Queen Kunti now. Yeah? So our desires are there. Who was I making that point with? Was it with you guys? Oh, that one, yeah, that's there. But one way I think, maybe it was a message I sent to the elite group or something. You can see there's different ways you could understand you're advancing in Krishna consciousness. One way is to see if your desires are changing. So you may still have desires for worldly enjoyment, but within that, more desires to read, to chant, even desires you have to work at, but there's more of these desires. And the other pleasures you have, you're trying to dovetail them in Krishna's service, or see Krishna's hand in them. So in that way you could see, without, you know, necessarily things have changed or physically, you could understand inside my desires are changing. And there was one other point that Srila Prabhupada made. I just can't remember who I sent it to. Was it in the elite group, or who did I send it to? Did I send a message out in the elite group? Maybe I should have. This was a really nice point. And yeah, if you're not in the elite group, there's a reason for that. You're not elite. Where was it? Oh, it was such a wicked point. I want to remember it. Maybe I didn't send it to you guys. It doesn't ring a bell to anyone, right? Maybe it wasn't you guys. Maybe it was another. I have a few elite groups, you see. I've got like the real elite group, and then, but they're all called elite. Just got to rename them and reprioritize them. Anyway, I can't remember what the second thing Prabhupada said, but the change of desires over time. If you've got more desires that are directly or indirectly for Krishna, that means you're actually becoming more Krishna conscious. Yeah? Okay, let's carry on. So we have to look at our life, and that way we could be grateful for everything that's happened in our life, and we could be grateful for Krishna. If there's coincidences in our life, there's a saying, coincidences are ways of Krishna wanting to remain in our life but anonymous. You know, sometimes you have people that want to give money anonymously. And for anyone who doesn't know, it may think, oh wow, the business is doing really well, or people are more charitable this year, or maybe it was our social media targeting and promotion. And they could be thinking and concluding so many of these things, but actually unknown to them, and maybe just the manager and the director and the CEO knows, is actually we had one major donor that came in and gave £5 million this year. And they know, but nobody else knows. So in the same way, we might see things and say it's just a coincidence, it was just by chance, but actually it's Krishna wanting to intervene in your life without you wanting to know that it's him. Because actually knowing it was Krishna too directly, too prematurely, may disrupt the journey. Okay, what else are we speaking about here? So, okay, just before we get to this point here, I wanted to speak about gratitude, because generally speaking, there's two categories of people. There's people that are grateful, thoughtfully reflective and grateful for what's happened in their life. And the other category of person are people that are kind of blinded by their false ego, and they don't really show any gratitude. So what do I mean by that? The latter type of category, those people, when they're happy, they're blinded by their happiness. And why are they happy? They ascribe merit to themselves. Because I did X, Y, and Z, so therefore I'm happy. And if there's distress in their life, then they're cursing fate or cursing God, but they don't take any accountability at that stage. Yeah? If we really want to be kritagya, we have to see Krishna's hand in everything. Then we could be grateful no matter if there's happiness or distress in our life. It doesn't make any difference. Otherwise, if one doesn't become grateful, then what happens? The pride in that person's heart, we speak about mode of passion, gets turned into anger and wrath. So that pride becomes jealousy, becomes envy, the heart becomes hard. And then when you're in that stage, that person can never really become grateful. Yeah, the heart's almost like too poisoned. Okay, so I want to try and finish these points because there's some really nice points coming up. A few weeks ago we did this, but I want to skip the first two and I want you to just focus on these last two here. Any prayers that you felt were answered in the past, and any prayers that you asked for that weren't answered. So just maybe to save time with the person or persons next to you, if each person could have a turn to have a go at these two questions in bold only, those two questions. So you've got about 3 or 4 minutes to do that, and then we're going to conclude with how Krishna protects.
I've been saved that way, I know. Oh no, didn't go from cheating.
That was one like my last
warning for cheating.
I got caught, and I was like ready to get kicked out.
Oh no. You basically prayed it out. I won't do it again, So there you go.
Oh, check this out. This is dangerous.
Are you giving it already?
No, I'm just going to put it here.
What do you want? 7th July
Okay, we've got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. You guys finished? Okay. You guys finished? Finished, yeah? Okay, guys. Hi, Krishna. Oh, Shanice, do that thing. Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. Okay, guys. Let's just quickly finish on this theme. Quite eager to finish the point. Okay, so we'll take your discussion points in a second. I thought it would be good just to go through this first and look in the different ways at how Krishna protects us. Especially this is more in spiritual life. If Krishna is not there in your life, you don't want him to be, it's just the laws of karma. That's it. Krishna doesn't really intervene. It's not, you don't want Krishna in your life, Krishna also respects that. This is for a devotee. Yeah? So let's have a look at all of these points here. So we're going to use the mnemonic protect, and each letter will stand for something. So the first letter here is Krishna personally comes, like he personally came in Arjun's life and helped him, advised him on the battlefield. Krishna personally comes and shows him the universal form, and at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun is very clear. He was in a conundrum, he was confused. Krishna comes himself, God comes himself, and then he declares to Arjun, this is what you should do. Did you understand? Is it clear? And then Arjun said, yeah, all my illusions are gone now. Now I know exactly what to do. So sometimes Krishna may personally come. That may not be for most of us, but it's a possibility anyway. Then the E stands for, or R stands for, sorry, I'm forgetting how to spell here. R stands for Krishna doesn't come, but his representative comes. So just like, for example, with Queen Kunti and that house of lac, who came? Vidura. Right? So Vidura is actually Krishna's devotee, and Krishna's devotee is going to look after the devotees of Krishna. And Vidura is there. Ultimately, any devotee of Krishna is a representative of Krishna. The Guru, the Sadhus, they're representative of Krishna. It could be in the form of Krishna's words, like the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is the representative of Krishna as well. Some people get miracles just by coming and praying to the deity form of Krishna. That's the representative of Krishna as well. Yeah, does that make sense? So it may not be Krishna directly out of the spiritual world, but in one form or another, his representative comes and protects us. Then the next letter, omnipotence, means all-powerful. So Krishna may not come in his direct form. He may not send his representative, but it could be something like a miracle. So, one example could be that, with Draupadi, and Krishna himself doesn't come, but he comes in the form of his potency, Shakti, with unlimited sari, right? Unlimited length. Or Krishna uses his power to protect. So for example, do you remember in the Mahabharata, or let's say in the fighting part of the Mahabharata, there was one person, one character, begins with a J. He got a boon from Shiva that he'll be able to... Huh? Jedha. Okay, yes, exactly. So what happened was he got this benediction that he'll be able to defeat the Pandavas once. And we've seen that Chakra Vyuha, how that manifested. But then what happened was Arjun, when he found out, he took that promise that if I don't kill him by sunset, then I'm going to enter into fire myself. And so what happened was word got round to the Kauravas. Duryodhana organized the army in such a way that there'll be tons of soldiers between Arjun and Jayadratha. And then what happened was the sun seemed to set and everybody was celebrating and he was celebrating, but then Krishna made it seem like the sun was covered for a little while, right? and then he managed to kill him, and then the sun, you can see it again basically. So that's with Krishna's potency, with his power. Another way as well, for example, actually, another way as well. Do you remember when they were in exile and Duryodhana was trying to stitch up the Pandavas at every single possible situation? So he knew that, oh gosh, I'm losing my memory. Who did he send? What's the name of that sage again that gets angry? Durvasa Muni. So he entertained Durvasa Muni, and he said, actually, if you thought the food here was great, you should eat what Draupadi cooks in the jungle. They're in exile right now, but you should really go there, and this is the right time to go. And he knew, like, Draupadi had that Akshay Patra, that plate given by the sun god, and whatever she cooks, it could feed unlimited numbers of people. But when she is the final person to eat, then that plate won't supply anything for the rest of that day. So Duryodhana purposely sends Durvasa Muni at the time when they typically finish eating and Draupadi would eat it last. So he comes with his 60,000 disciples, and he gets super angry. And he says, like, I've come here, we're hungry, and Yudhishthira is like sweating, doesn't know what to do, Draupadi's sweating as well. So they're trying to stall, for time. So they said, why don't you guys have a bath first and then come? And they don't know what to do. They said, Draupadi, cook something. She's like, I can't cook anything, I've eaten already, and there's nothing in the plate, in the pot. So she starts praying to Krishna again. And then what happens, Krishna comes, and Krishna says, I'm hungry, feed me. No, that was a problem in the first place, right? That's the reason why we called you, because we can't feed Durvasa Muni. And Krishna's like, no, just bring something. And Draupadi was like, no, we haven't got, it's like, just bring something, just bring the plate. And then she was like, no, there's nothing in the plate. So he looks and there's one like particle of shak, of spinach in there. So Krishna's the root of all existence. So he eats that one little leaf of spinach, sabji left. And then so many miles away, Durvasa Muni and his 60 disciples get really stuffed. And then what happened was, Krishna then says to Yudhishthira, send Bhim to go and tell them, but send Bhim with his club. And Bhim didn't understand what was going on. But basically the reason why Krishna sent Bhim with a club is so when they saw Bhim coming with the club, they thought, actually, if we come back and say we don't eat, then Bhim will kill us. So when Bhim said that, and they said, yeah, you go ahead, we're going to come and follow you, then they just ran away, basically. So Krishna, a very powerful person to offer food to, in general. How many of you are offering food to Krishna at least once a day with the prayers? Okay, one session, we've got to get all of you know how to do this, and even if you just offer a cup of water every day, that needs to be your New Year's resolution. You need to offer Krishna at least one thing, Krishna, Gaunitai, whatever, but one thing every day. Even if it's just a cup of water, no problem. But you have to show your great gratitude to Krishna in one way, right? And this is like a actual savor type way that you could do that. So maybe one session will do that. Okay, then Krishna obviously protects in his teachings, and I think most of us, we could testify to this, isn't it? I was speaking to you guys on Tuesday about that lady's house I went to, and her and her husband have already come from one divorce each. Well, one of the marriages last what did I say? Was it 7 months? And the other one lasted like 17 days or something like that. And they found each other, and then their first child is born with this very rare disability. There's only a few children in the world that have this condition, and was predicted to never be able to walk, might even die by the age of 1. He's currently 5. He's only just learned how to crawl. For the first 2.5 years, he didn't recognize his father, who was there every single day. He's blind, he's also deaf. So you can imagine how they were. And they had a second child, and they were thinking, should we carry on with this pregnancy? Because the doctor said it may happen again. They decided to just rely on Krishna. Fortunately, this second child is normal, seemingly normal anyway. But they were telling me they did the courses, Discover, Gita Life, Bhakti Life, and it just changed everything for them. Even though nothing really changed physically, but still, how Krishna operates in this world, they understood it. The whole world changed for them. And I could feel it, even though I was looking at this child thinking, I mean, it's a full-time job. They said they've not had a holiday for 5 years, they can't. And they feel bad about offloading the child to someone else and go on holiday. It's just not their culture, they told me. So like they've had no break. And they've, broken down, burnt out so many times until they found Krishna. But I could feel, despite the kids always being around, there was so much peace and love in their heart, and they've just accepted this is our dharma. This is how Krishna wants us to serve him. And whatever aspirations we had for career and finances and location, we've understood this is how Krishna wants us to be Krishna conscious in this lifetime. And they didn't have that understanding prior to the courses, right? So just these teachings alone can save you. You know, so many stories of people about to commit suicide, a Bhagavad Gita mystically came into their hands and they became, forget not committing suicide, they became a devotee the next day. So Krishna's words, Krishna's form, Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's leela is just as potent as seeing Krishna himself. Yeah? So his teachings are there. Let's carry on. E stands for empowerment. So sometimes, for example, in the Mahabharata, Krishna, as Gaura was saying, indirectly empowers. So he was indirectly making being powerful, empowered him to kill those cannibals when they were in the wilderness. Arjun, he empowered to fight even though he was confused. And I was saying this in the house program. Whose deities were being installed? Kishore's, right? Kishore's house program. Sometimes Krishna empowers us by empowering us, and sometimes Krishna empowers us by disempowering us. So that same Arjun he empowered. He made very crystal clear what he should do, and he became the most ferocious warrior on the battlefield. The same warrior, sometime after when Krishna left the planet, Krishna's charioteer gave him the message that Krishna wanted you to take all of his queens and take them back to Hastinapur and look after them. On the way back, these cowherd men out of nowhere just defeated him, took a good lion's share of the queens, and they just ran away with the queens. And Arjun is lamenting to Yudhisthira in the first canto, this first canto we're studying, the same person that empowered me, I had the Gandiva bow and I could defeat anyone, I had the same Gandiva bow. The same Arjun, but somehow I couldn't even defeat some cowherd boys, not even Kshatriyas. How? We know actually it was Krishna behind the scenes that disempowered Arjun, because his queens had to be returned to Krishna in secret. So Krishna can protect by empowering, but also disempowering. Right? We have our plan, but Krishna knows best. Make sense? Okay, and then just carrying on. What's the next letter? Well, glad some of you got that one right, huh? C is just a basic one. It could be a combination of these things at different times in different places. We could attribute whatever success or growth we have in Krishna consciousness to different things as well. For example, I haven't put Krishna's name there, but his name represents him as well. And the last letter, T, represents time, stands for time. So sometimes Krishna, you know, Bhishma said Krishna is there in the form of time. And who understands the dynamics of what Krishna has for his devotees? I would never have guessed Yudhisthira and the rest of you would have been put into those difficulties, but it was the influence of time, and time is Krishna's energy. It's this person here that you're seeing in front of you. So sometimes time, staying patient, even if it means letting the problem to stay for some time, that actually protects us, that takes us out of trouble, that keeps us humble, that allows us to fully understand the naked form of Maya, that allows us to become serious, that allows us to absorb a token reaction when we should have got something a lot more worse. The example is given of the caterpillar that has to grow into a butterfly. If you release it too early from its period of strife and difficulty, what happens? Not only does it not grow, but it dies, right? So the idea is maybe Krishna wants us to grow through the problem. It's the problem that will make us humble. It's the problem that will make us devotional. It's the problem that will make us surrender to Krishna more. And we've been asking to Krishna, how do I surrender to you? Does that make sense? So sometimes we have to see it in the form of Krishna's energy as well. So here I've got a couple of statements in this box. I don't know if we have time. So maybe what we could do is next week we'll come and we'll discuss this, and it will be a good way to review what we did. But initially what I was hoping to do in this session is for you guys to discuss ways in which Krishna's manifests his mercy in your life up to date or more recently, and you felt that despite the odds you were protected spiritually. What does spiritually mean as well? Even think about the worst adversities in your life and how that's helped you to stay on the path or deepen your understanding. You may need to think very deep to do that, but we're getting inspiration from Queen Kunti, from the Pandavas. If they're able to do it, surely we should be able to do it as well. And how can we try and become more grateful for his mercy shown already? So maybe if you take a picture of this, and you could do this for homework, and then that way it will speed things up next week, because we could take it as a group discussion, how Krishna's helped to protect you spiritually. It could also be materially as well. there's no issue. And then, unfortunately, I'll have to apologize. I had some examples of people testifying to Krishna's mercy in scripture. So that'd be a good way to kind of, my memory's getting fuzzy, to hammer the final nail into the coffin. Understanding from different devotees' point of view how Krishna manifests in their life and how they found Krishna's mercy in their life. So we'll do a discussion with all of you next week, and then we'll look to the devotees, pure devotees, and see what they say. And then we'll get to the next verse after that. Does that sound okay? So hopefully today's session was good, it was useful. We'd also like to thank Neelam for making these wonderful prasadam snacks. Can you show? Yeah, it's like donuts, right?
They are donuts.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, they're yeah, believe it or not, they're donuts. Yes, exactly. So thank you for putting time and effort and love into that. If anyone wants to ask anything, they can stay behind. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to go. I'll just make one quick announcement as well. Liam just signed up for the retreat in August.